I'm excited for you guys, which is really why I'm here, because I kind of look over the room and I see your faces, and I'm not sure if you guys fully grasp how much fun you're about to have. You're about to have a whole lot of fun. And I mean, yeah, you're gonna, be education challenged and, professional and all that stuff, but I'm saying right now, we'll get to that later, but you're gonna have a whole lot of fun. People say that you make lifelong friends in college, and it's true, especially here. People say that you grow up in college. That was true for me, and it's especially going to be true here for a lot of you too. People say that it's a great experience, and that's certainly true, but what I'll say about that is your mileage on that experience may vary depending on where you go. So where you go matters, and I'll get into that later, but I want to come back to tell you a little bit about what it was like for me. And I feel so weird saying this because I first set foot on Auburn's campus 11 years ago. That number feels too big for me. But it was 11 years ago, and I swear, if you were to ask me right now, do I remember that day like it was yesterday? In all honesty, I'd have to tell you, no, it was 11 years ago. I don't remember anything from that day. I don't remember the first place I went to hang out. I don't remember the first professor I met. I don't remember the first class I had. What I do remember is the first friend I made. I remember how excited I was to go to my first football game. I remember how loud it was. I remember how hot it was. It was really hot. I remember how annoyed I was that nobody would sit down. Everybody stands up in the student section. And here's how it starts. Somebody on the front row stands up, and the person behind them can't see, so they stand up. Now everybody stand up the whole game. You will not sit down until halftime, so look forward to that. I also remember this sinking feeling I got the first time I realized I was struggling with a class. And I remember the good feeling I got when I passed that class and how grateful I was to the tutors and classmates and everybody who helped me get through. I remember how accomplished it felt when I walked across the stage and I finished my degree. I also remember meeting a girl. I thought I was going to graduate and be single and live this life, and then I met this lady, and later on we got married. So that happens too, and it's great, and I didn't expect it. So when I think about why I'm here today, it really does boil down to love. That's all it is. I think about the different facets of my life. I just mentioned that, right? I'm a husband. I love my wife. I love my family. I'm a patriot. I love my country. I'm an Auburn man. I love my alma mater. And if you think about what love is, it's not a feeling. A feeling may be part of it at some point, sure, but it's really a commitment. It's a commitment to a series of actions. It's saying that you're going to support something. You're going to invest in it. You're going to sacrifice for it, in spite of its imperfections. So what I'm not here to tell you today is that Auburn is perfect. No place is. I am here to tell you that Auburn is great, and it can be great for you and help make you successful. So to mention what Auburn's done for me, she mentioned in the introduction, I helped found a student organization. I was involved in that. I ran for SGA president, which you can tell I didn't win by the fact I say I ran, because had I won, I'd just say I won. But even with that, I learned so much about myself. It was a great experience, and I even remember one day on the campaign trail, we were going to campaign at sorority houses this night. So we were going to make like 6 or 7 stops in all these sorority halls. And I didn't mention this, I'm black, by the way, I don't know if you can tell, but we were going to some sororities that were not. And people told me, dude, what are you doing? These people are nothing like you. They don't want to hear what you got to say. You're not going to get any traction. But I remember the first time we went in there, 200 girls, people are standing on chairs, yelling for you, just as you walk in. They do this for everybody. They're really nice. But when I started talking, the room got quiet, and people started looking at each other, and I saw heads nodding, and people were whispering, oh, I'm going to vote for this guy. Oh, I like him. Oh, I agree with that. And I walked out going, I think we're going to make some traction here. I'll never forget it. The next day, we were on the concourse, and this girl walked up to me, and she goes, I'm so excited to meet you. You came to my sorority last night. We were so impressed. Here's $100. May we please buy like 12 of your shirts or whatever. And I'm like, yes, take all the shirts you want. And I remember that girl to this day. I run into her all the time. I ran into her not long ago. And it just reminds me of what Auburn has done for me in terms of the experience. That was just one instance that reminded me, not just of the goodness of humanity in general, but the greatness that Auburn cultivates in all of us. Because here's the situation where people tell me, you shouldn't even go there. Those people aren't anything like you. Yeah, you go to the same school, but it's going to be a lost cause for you, man. But I made a friend that I still have today. And it's just one other instance where we might all look a little different, act a little different, speak a little different, be from different places, but we're not always as different as we think. There's more in common than we realize. So Auburn prepared me in that way, not just to go get a job, but to go out into the world and be effective and find the future I wanted to have and earn it for myself. Because where you go matters. The formula for success, I don't know if you guys know this or not, I only recently figured it out, it's really simple. It's only two things. It's opportunity times skill. That's it. That's why you see people who don't have that great of a skill level, but they're still really successful because they had great opportunities. It's also why you see people who are very, very skilled, but aren't as successful as you think they were because they never had the opportunity. So I talk about Auburn being able to help you find your success. What do I mean by that? We will give you the skills here, and we can connect you to the right opportunities here. And it can do that for you in three ways. The first thing it can do is expand you. The second thing it will do is challenge you. And the third thing Auburn will do is connect you. So, I talk about expanding you, and I remember one of my friends in engineering when I was going through the mechanical curriculum, he's a guy from Sri Lanka. I never even heard of Sri Lanka before I came here. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. But he was a great guy, and we got to know each other, and once again, you find out this guy's just like me. And, one thing you learn from doing research on this stuff is that the more people who aren't like you that you're exposed to, the more intelligent you become. You are exposed to people who see the same situation from a variety of diverse perspectives, and it makes you better, which is really what diversity and inclusion is all about. It's not about averaging out the color of people on the brochure or checking the box so we have a woman here and an Indian American here, but diversity makes us better. And I can tell you, having seen it firsthand, Auburn understands that. Not just from a perspective of how many students who look like this can we recruit, how many professors can we get on the brochure, but how do we cultivate an environment where people learn from each other, even though they're different, and we all become better as a part of that. So Auburn gets that, and if you go to a lot of places, many don't. Many people will do it just to check a box. They'll hire one person, put them up in front of the cameras, and pat themselves on the back and be done for the day. But Auburn is committed to that, and I've seen it firsthand, and it's a very, very important thing. I'll talk about Auburn challenging you, which I always go back to the Auburn Creed, and anybody who's gone here can tell you the first line always starts, that I believe this is a practical world, I can count only on what I earn, and therefore I believe in work, hard work. And I didn't read it before I came here, but I probably should have, because I never realized how much the professors believe that too. I talk about this at recruiting events all the time, but Auburn is actually known and ranked as one of the toughest schools in the nation in which to earn an A. We are known not to have severe grade inflation here. And if you don't know what grade inflation is, it's where everybody's so great, we all get A's. Well, it's not the real world. And if you think it is and you come here, you'll find out it's not. It might be frustrating at first, but what I realized when I was talking to a recruiter, he said, I like hiring people from Auburn? You guys work. You don't expect anybody to hand it to you. You keep your head down and you do the work. And I realized that I appreciate that about my Auburn experience because this university, earning my degree, it forced me to do things I never knew I hated. I didn't know I hate fluid dynamics or system dynamics and controls and all these classes. But I learned how to do it because what I wanted was on the other side of that. And Auburn didn't make it easy for me, but it did make it possible. I had no excuse. It was all up to me, and I found the resources I need. And those resources are here for you, which is what I love about this place. It's all laid out for you. And when I talk about connecting you, the network is incredible. You hear stories all the time of people who are at the airport in Brussels or South Africa, and they're wearing an Auburn hat, and some person they've never met or will never meet again yells War Eagle at them. I'll never forget, we were in Boston last year, and I don't even remember we were wearing any Auburn gear, but we're just walking around and we see this guy and we go, this guy looks familiar. So we work up the courage to talk to him, and turns out he used to drive the transit that we both ride. He used to drive the Tiger Transit. Here you are in Boston. I recognize this guy from Auburn. What are the odds? He wasn't wearing Auburn stuff. We weren't wearing Auburn stuff. He's just a guy that looked familiar to me. That's what the Auburn connection is like. People are everywhere. And when you come to this university, you have an opportunity to build your network when you talk about the student organizations that are here. You can get involved in so many different opportunities there. You can start your own organization. You can charter a local chapter of a national organization. If you're in the Greek life, we've got that. Whatever your thing is, we have it here for you. And there's so many different ways you can get engaged and build that network so that once you graduate, that network is there to help bring you the opportunities that you can use to become successful. And that matters a lot to me because it really does bring me back to the creed in terms of the opportunities Auburn has given me. Myself and a lot of other alums, we just feel motivated to give back. You know, it's that thing I was talking about with love in terms of I'm willing to make a sacrifice for this place. And that's probably why to date we've raised, $994 million in our campaign with only $6 million more to go till we reach $1 billion. It's incredible. And I think about supporting this university as one of the things I do to be a good citizen, you know, because in a way, voting is not enough. I tell people that all the time. Voting is not enough. That is the bare minimum. You got to support what you believe in. And I believe in expanding opportunity. And Auburn is a place that does that for you. Really, I believe deeply in public institutions. You know, they're kind of aspirational in a way that is uniquely American to me. And Auburn University is a shining example of what public institutions ought to be. You know, you think about it. This is a place where you're tired, you're poor, and you're weak, leave refreshed, wealthy, and strong. That doesn't happen everywhere. This is a place where a skinny kid born poor in Birmingham, Alabama, can learn to lead, become an engineer, become a supervisor, and manage 100 people building jet engines. That doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen in every place. But it does happen here. And it happens here because this is Auburn. So look, I invite you to take your ride here. I don't know what all your options are. I don't care what all your options are. You need to give Auburn a look, and you need to come here. I invite you to join our family. I invite you to join this wonderful, diverse, raucous, football crazed, growing, mad fandom family. And I know that if you do, you're not going to regret it. You won't. And honestly, even if you do, you'll still be better off than if you went to the University of Alabama. So I'm just saying, make the right decision, folks. That's all I'm saying. You do have a tremendous decision before you, and there is tremendous opportunity laying at your feet. Most of us only get one chance at this, so I invite you to make the most of yours. Come to Auburn, join this family, and watch your life change forever. All right? War Eagle. Thank you, guys. God bless you.